I'm joined here in Berlin by human rights attorney Wolfgang Kaleck. He is the General Secretary of the European Center of Constitutional and Human Rights. He has twice filed war crime suits against Donald Rumsfeld in Germany. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Wolfgang.
Hi, Amy.
It's good to have you with us. Let's start off by talking about the significance of this U.S. Senate report. It's interesting that it's not only the Democrat Carl Levin, but the former Republican presidential candidate John McCain.
No, the report is fine, as many other reports which have been released during the last 4 years. But one has to say it only confirms the information which was already on the table. We had a lot of revelations by colleagues of yours, by Jane Meyer, by other investigative journalists. We had the book of Philip Sands. And it's the last report in a row. So what we are interested in is the consequences of all this. You know, where does it lead to? When does the new administration take the necessary measure to deal with these crimes? And they were crimes.
Do you see any move in that direction with the Barack Obama, just what is being put out now, his selections for his cabinet? Of course, he's not in power yet.
Yeah, we follow a vivid discussion right now in the U.S. Some people demand at least, and this is the minimum, some kind of truth commission with subpoena powers, but this is the absolute minimum. Yeah, and others like Michael Ratner from the Center for Constitutional Rights demand strongly prosecution in the U.S. And we from Europe follow this process very carefully, because if nothing happens in the U.S. or if Bush files a preemptive pardon, we know it's our turn again here in Europe.
Talk about these lawsuits that you have filed against Donald Rumsfeld, and also what most surprised you in the, U.S. Senate report. You've been researching this for a long time, but it's different when a body like the Senate says things like you have been saying.
No, actually, I'm very happy with the report. It's another confirmation, and also, you know, it's not only about dealing with these persons who are, some of them already left the administration. I'm not really interested in these persons as such. I'm interested in a change of the attitude of the U.S. militaries and the U.S. Secret Services, and of course I'm interested in restoration of the rule of law, and that requires investigation and prosecution. And yeah, we are very reluctant to have any firm opinion on that, because we have to wait for the 20th of January. But we will very carefully follow the first steps of the Obama administration.
And what you think is most significant in the Senate report?
No, there are strong conclusions, you know, like saying what we always were saying, that the U.S. military and the CIA were using the methods of the old enemies in the Cold War, like waterboarding, which was used by North Korea, by North Vietnam, and by China and the Soviet Union. So this was already on the table. This is like ridiculous, and but it's good that it's now being said by a congressional report, of course.
Your lawsuits that you've brought against Donald Rumsfeld, together with the Center for Constitutional Rights, explain what they are and where they've gone, and why you, as a German attorney, are involved with this at all.
The Center approached us in Germany 4 years ago, when there was nearly total impunity in the U.S., and no attempts at all to be seen that any other than the rotten apples, the 12 persons from the night shift in Abu Ghraib, should be sued for what happened in Abu Ghraib. And so in 2004, we filed the first lawsuit here in Germany. Actually, it was linked with what you have been discussing right now, because many of the mother units of the acting persons in Abu Ghraib were stationed in Germany. So there was even a territorial connection. 4 of the 12 persons, other than Rumsfeld, 4 of the 12 persons were stationed in Germany. So Germany, in our opinion, Germany had the obligation to pursue this. And against Rumsfeld, our complaint was based on the universal jurisdiction laws in Germany. So that was the 2004.
Explain universal jurisdiction.
Universal jurisdiction is when there is no territorial link or no person, no citizen from the country, neither as an actor nor as a victim is somehow involved in the crime. So when there is no connection at all to the country, many countries in the world now have so-called universal jurisdiction laws, which allow them to investigate and prosecute if the state where the crime occurred and if the International Criminal Court won't take the case. So, but this is only one side of the game. The other side is what we always said. Yeah, we tried to blame Rumsfeld for, and others, of course, especially the lawyers, for what they've done in conducting the torture program. But we don't have to forget that this is not about universal jurisdiction. This is about territorial jurisdiction and about personal jurisdiction. We have many European countries right now with pending lawsuits because of their involvement in the US torture program. So we have ongoing trials in Italy, in Spain. We have even now in Bosnia, in Poland, we have brave prosecutors who are investigating against their own officials. We have parliamentary inquiries. We have criminal investigations in Denmark, in Holland, in many other countries.
Can you explain a few of these? Because I think there's very little sense in the United States of what goes on outside of the United States.
You know that the CIA rendition program was called by one investigator of the Council of Europe a spider's web. So this is to demonstrate the power of the CIA, like covering the whole world with their stations and using air bases all over the world to kidnap people, to torture them, and to bring them anywhere.
By rendition, you're referring to extraordinary rendition.
I'm referring to the CIA extraordinary rendition program. So. That's on one hand, this really seems like a very powerful demonstration. On the other hand, they leave traces. Everywhere they act, there is jurisdiction on their actions. So they acted in Italy, for example. They kidnapped a Muslim clerk, Abu Omar, and brought him to Egypt, where he was really brutally tortured. And a brave prosecutor in Italy investigated the case, and now is standing on trial against not only CIA agents but also against the heads of the Italian Secret Service who helped the CIA.
But the CIA agents, of course, are not there. They're being tried in absentia.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? It means they can never return to
Italy? They can never return. There are arrest warrants, like there are arrest warrants in Germany against 12 CIA agents. So
what happened here in Germany?
In Germany, it's all because of the case of Khaled El-Masri, a German citizen who was kidnapped in Macedonia and then brought to Afghanistan and then returned to Germany. You know, but what this means is 4 years ago, everybody said suing a lawsuit against U.S. CIA agents, against U.S. militaries, never brings you anywhere. And 4 years later, we find ourselves in a situation where we have to say, this is of course not enough, but this is more than nothing. A lot has been happening. So many lawyers, many prosecutors, many judges in several European countries took action. And I think there is more to come up. And it depends very much. There is much hope on the Obama administration, but it will depend very much if there is really something going on in the U.S. If not, I guess there will be more and more lawsuits here in Europe.
Wolfgang Kaleck, your first lawsuit against Rumsfeld in 2004, that was thrown out by the German government.
Yeah, that was a nice one, because we filed the lawsuit in late 2004, and they were somehow revising our complaint because it was a very strong, long complaint. And Rumsfeld announced at a certain point that he wouldn't come to Germany because of that pending lawsuit, and he wanted to come to the Munich Security Conference on 11th of February in 2005, and so the German prosecutor filed the dismissal on the 10th of February 2005, one day before, so that Rumsfeld could attend the Munich Security Conference, which he did. So that was...
Was the U.S. bringing a lot of pressure to throw this out?
Yeah, it seems so. It seems so, because there were also upcoming visits of Condoleezza Rice and re-elected President George Bush by that time. This attitude of the Germans, which was obviously politically motivated, gave us a fair chance to file a new lawsuit in 2006, where actually not only the Center for Constitutional Rights and we, the Germans, filed the case, but 50 organizations all over the world backed the case. And so, yeah, you know that the case gained a lot of public attention and also initiated a discussion that international justice has to be more than special justice for fallen dictators from southern countries or special tribunals for Africa. If international justice wants to be taken serious in the future, it has to go after the powerful perpetrators also of the West and the North.